What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about this Suicide Squad closed tech test yet again. You're seeing my face, so now you know it's real, right? Normally, I hide behind the footage, but this time, I want to look you dead in the eye and talk about how upset I genuinely am. Now, I want to go over a couple different things because I try to see things from all different sides, and people did make some pretty good points in the comments of past videos, so I want to try to address different things, okay? Number one, this is not necessarily, in fact, it's not at all, but we can talk about it, a debate of whether they should or shouldn't let people talk, right? And I think that's very important to say. This is more about breaking agreements that you're signing and the ramifications, like what could happen because people are doing this, and just how weird like the entire thing is. Like, I got a lot to say, okay? But before I get into that stuff, just the fact of, hey, like, is there a conversation to be had of, is it right or wrong for them to, tell you can't do it? Well, it is their right. Like, the first thing to say, it's their right legally, and they're the ones putting it out into the world. You sign the agreement. When you scroll down, you click, all that jazz. Like, you're doing that, okay? You're signing those rights over to that you're not supposed to speak about your impressions or sharing clips or any of that stuff, right, on the beta, okay? So that's one part of it. Now, is it right for that? Again, it's their right. But yeah, I actually think it would be best for them to let people talk. And I've actually said that for a while, even when we kind of knew this is what they were going to do. We knew this from Multiverses. We knew this from Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. If they could have done with Hogwarts, I'm sure they would have done it. It would have been the exact same thing. Like, this is what happens. And is it the best for the game? Probably. Like, I don't know. As I said actually in yesterday's video, I do think this thing can make non-believers into believers, but without people saying it online, like, you also need to try to get the people that don't care enough to even try the beta, right? Like, that's an important step, right? Where, hey, the thing looks so bad, let's say, somebody says, it looks so bad that we're not even going to attempt it. Well, if you have people playing it and they really like it, and they're sharing clips and all this stuff, and they're saying they really like it, yeah, maybe you convince that average, Joe on Twitter to download the thing and give it a try themselves, and maybe that converts them to a sale. So from that point of view, like, should they allow people to talk about it? Yes. I actually think the answer is yes, and I would stand up for that side. However, okay, that's where we're going to end that. We do have to live in the world that we live in. Is that a saying? Maybe I'll make that. That's just like what it is. We all did this. The people that have played the game, we have taken the steps that we should be abiding by what they say. So, why am I so upset? Okay, well, there were people that were like hinting at their thoughts about the beta, and we talked about it yesterday. Not too big of a deal. You can almost kind of like laugh it off and say, I get what you're doing, like wink, wink, nod, nod. Okay, it's all good. And honestly, I think WB would overall be fine with that, at least from the positive side, right? If you're hinting that you like it, but you're not outright stating, hey, I liked this thing about it, and let's talk about this gameplay mechanic. And that, if you don't do that, then I think they'd be okay. Now, technically, you're not even supposed to do that. All right, to be fair, you're not even supposed to say if you like the thing or not. You're not supposed to say anything, okay? So you have that. Next part of it is, well, that's okay, maybe, to me, whatever. But there's another step that we saw people start to take yesterday, and it got worse. I think it legitimately got worse throughout the day. So people were legitimately just live streaming this thing, that's hilarious, but for like a stupidity kind of reason. Live streaming it, you are asking, you're almost demanding to get your account taken down. And I gotta be real, like, I am not a fan of censorship. I'm not a fan of, like, a one strike, you're kind of out. But you deserve a copyright strike. You deserve to be taken down, or that video to be maybe not like the entire channel like nuked, but you deserve a warning or a strike if you do that, because that is outright, like they say you're not supposed to. You got the watermark on the thing. It's easy to identify. So you had people live streaming it. Last night, you had a very fun kind of last night I saw two things that made me laugh/very agitated, where I said, okay, I'm going to make this video. Like, I wasn't going to do this until I saw these two things, okay? One of them was a screenshot shown to me by actually a friend of the channel, Hidden Machine. We did Alan Wake stuff together. Great, great guy. He responded to my tweet being mad about this and said, like, look at this. There's people just on YouTube just posting the raw footage. Like, they're right there, their face cam, It's it's them in the flesh playing this game. It's however long, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour for some of these things, and they're just playing through this is not a Let's Play. Okay, like, this is not something that you just record for fun and then you just upload it part by part. You do part 5, part 19, and you try to split however long the beta is into individual segments and put it all out there on a YouTube channel. That's not what it's for, and you like literally cannot do that. So again, like, I literally laugh because I don't know how you do that. Well, actually I do, and that's the final part to this video, okay? So you had that. And then the other final part was I saw a tweet. And, like, by the way, like, I don't remember who this person was, the face cam. Like, I can picture it, but I don't know, you know, the names and stuff. So I'm not necessarily throwing people on their bus. Same thing with this. I saw a tweet that was literally analyzing the strengths and weaknesses of the beta, saying, oh, specific parts of the, oh, this is good. I can't wait for them to, you know, further along this thing. It's like, this is not something that you share your critical analysis. You don't make an essay type 2-hour-long video on YouTube critiquing the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League closed tech test. Like, what are you fools doing? And that's what brings us to part 3. Okay, part 3 of this video. Why does it aggravate me? Well, I'll tell you one thing selfishly. Please don't take this the wrong way. Try to really listen to my words here. Then I'll go into, like, the bigger picture. Selfishly, it's like, I think a lot of people can get away with it. So, and why is it selfish? Well, I do feel if me or if, like, bigger named channels, and I'm talking about even bigger than me, or I would say even, like, my size, if we were to do something and outright just, like, say our opinions on the beta, like so many people just have not cared and they just have done it online, we'd absolutely be the ones they make a point to kind of go after, right? We would be like the sacrificial lambs, where it'd be like, hey, we told you not to do that. They did it. You're going after them. You could argue, like, well, what are you going to do to an account on Twitter that's got like 850 followers that's saying, oh, I like this specific thing in the beta. I didn't like this specific thing. You absolutely should not be doing that, and that person is very, very foolish. But, like, you know, what's the worst that can happen? They lose their Twitter account. I mean, like, who cares? Like, ultimately, maybe they care, but, like, say, you know, it's a Twitter account with 20 followers, right? Like, what does it matter if you lose that Twitter? Granted, right? So that all is a part of it. So I do get selfishly mad in that way, where would I like to tell you what I thought about it? Yeah, because I actually have many things to say about what I thought about it, and I can't say anything. At least not yet. Maybe one day they let us. Maybe I don't even know what they could do at this point. But that's selfishly, right? Where it's like they don't get everybody doesn't really seem to be getting punished here, but I still feel like afraid, and I'm not going to do it myself because I know I'm going to get myself in trouble. So that's one thing. Second part to it is definitely, let's think about, like, the bigger picture here, okay? And ultimately, while I don't think I'm a very selfish individual, I do think of myself, but the first thing I thought of with the situation is, what do you guys think is going to happen going forward? I really don't think, and again, random Twitter account with 20 followers, do they think far in advance? No. Why should they? You know, like, honestly, why should they? That's fair. But if you want this kind of stuff to continue, and what do I mean by this stuff? Betas, closed tech tests. This is not something that I really thought they'd do. We've talked about a beta for Suicide Squad before, and I think it made sense to do, but I never had, like, extreme confidence they were going to do it. And to make it a closed thing where you had to get invited, that was another thing altogether. Now, again, yeah, they did it with Multiverses. They did it with Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. So this is a theme whenever a game fits this kind of mold. It seems like they're willing to do it. But I've never seen it like this. And I think that's what I was alluding to in yesterday's video. I think that's what we've kind of seen online, even like friends of mine that I've talked to online. It's just shocking how much is happening. This did not happen to the other two. Multiverses took a while before anything leaked as to how that game looked or operated. And just the casual critiquing of it didn't happen at all. Quidditch Champions, that thing, they put the hammer down on that. Nothing. And the gameplay for that game didn't leak till like months after. Well, okay, that was maybe an exaggeration. Definitely not the first day. I don't even think the first weekend or maybe even the first thing. It took a while. it took a while, and I don't even think most people have a general idea of what Quidditch Champion looks like because there hasn't been enough that's leaked out. It's insane and I think that's just because they were very harsh on it or whatever. Plus, just people followed, people followed the rules. Something with Suicide Squad, people flat out do not care. Like, nobody cares. And I think that, yeah, you're a rebel, cool, ultimately, again, and also you do it, you play it. What's the worst thing that happens? You're blacklisted and you can't be in another closed tech test. If you're an average Joe that's just trying things out here and there, who cares if you can't do another one, right? There is a difference, say, between someone like me or, if you're trying to, make a relationship with WB, or you have a relationship with WB, and you go out and you just start critiquing the beta openly. Yes, more severe things are going to happen to you than just an average Joe who, hey, you play 5 games a year and you're interested in DC and you don't care if your 20-person Twitter gets nuked. Who does care, right? I understand there is a difference, but, following general rules seems like something easy enough. You agreed to them. In order to get into this thing, you agreed. And also, again, the bigger picture, I cannot imagine that WB is happy. And I don't know that. I don't have inside sources at Rocksteady or WB, but this is my own personal opinion, my own personal analysis of this. I cannot imagine that they are happy with this, because what they are easily actively seeing is people just breaking all of the agreements and just openly, like I said, that Twitter thing is really what broke me, where it's just a casual tweet. It had 95 likes. It wasn't gigantic. It wasn't 2 likes, right? It was okay. And it's just openly talking, analysis-wise, critiquing specific parts to the beta. And I'm thinking, what are we doing? You can't do that. And it was just so casual. And that's the point. All of this stuff has just been so casual. Uploading Let's Plays. What in God's name are we doing here? That's not what this is. And again, we can keep going around in circles. I get to some, it's not a big deal. I would think that this would change their opinion on doing this in the future. Why would they? Because going back to the first part, right? Generally, it's been positive. There's definitely way more positive things that have been said, even just openly. Hey, did you see that one part of the beta? Hey, that was cool. There's been more positives than negatives, okay? And maybe that makes people get away with it. If it's reversed, though, this is how they can maybe look at it, right? They look at it and they say, well, it could be worse because it could be all negative and they could just be openly breaking these contracts. But, it's positive. But they could be thinking, well, what about the next game that we do, or 3 games down the line? If people have no respect for following the rules and they're just going to outright break these agreements, well, what if it's a game that sucks? And some people might not like Suicide Squad, right? But just in general, say most of the critique is negative. Well, what about 3 games from now when they do a closed beta? People still break it because it's a DC property and people just don't care, I guess, for this kind of thing. And then they talk about it, but it's all negative. They say, oh my God, let's just casually share clips and let's just absolutely bash this game because it's terrible. And maybe it is terrible. And again, should people be able to do it? Again, I think you should be able to communicate. I would want WB to kind of lift that stuff, but in this world, they don't. Well, they're not going to let that happen. Why in God's name would they let that happen? Now, we've talked about it more from it doesn't really make sense the way they're doing it now, where it is positive. A lot of people are saying really good things. You actually probably want people to say stuff online. But again, going back to the beginning, that's not what's happening. You can't actually do that. So I honestly get just very worried about the future. Not necessarily Suicide Squad's release. There's nothing that changes or massively, does anything there. But I'm just thinking, down the line, this is, I'm not going to say it's I guess it is a privilege in some, I never like using that word, that's a tough word. We buy the game, consumers support and ultimately keep alive these companies. So there's a mutual kind of relationship. I don't know who's privileged and who isn't, but there is some sort of respect and handshake kind of thing going on when they say, okay, look, we're going to let you try out the game. And in exchange for trying it out for free and trying it out early, you are not gonna do these certain things. And then when people just outright do it, again, some people can get away with it while other people probably can't. And I just don't think this is gonna end well. Well, number one, like, who knows? A lot of these channels, a lot of these accounts, whatever, could be terminated or whatever. But then also, again, like down the line, like, what if they don't do this again? Then we'll never have these closed. Now, you could say, well, what does it matter if you can't talk about it? Fair point. But maybe you can eventually. Like, you don't know. Maybe in a month or two, they'll do an open beta, and it'll be the same exact thing as the closed, like the same content, and then they'll say you can talk about it. So people that don't even want to replay it, they can talk about it. Because, oh, okay, well, I played the closed one. This is the exact same thing. Let's discuss it. You can maybe you can talk about it eventually. You don't know that for sure, but, the way people are acting on a large scale, very casual, I can't imagine that they're happy, and I can't imagine that they would really want to repeat this and do it again. Because I think it's been a disaster, to be honest with you. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.